I was scrolling through real estate listings when I saw it. My childhood home, listed for $350,000. My mother's house, the house she was still living in. I called my sister Nicole immediately. "Why is Mom's house for sale?" Her response chilled me. "That's none of your business." My name is Ryan Matthews. I'm 32 years old, and 6 months ago, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. My older sister, Nicole, who lives 10 minutes from Mom, became her primary caregiver and was granted power of attorney to handle Mom's medical and financial affairs during treatment. I live 3 hours away and trusted Nicole to take care of everything. That trust was a mistake. Last month, I discovered Nicole has been systematically stealing Mom's entire estate, selling property, emptying accounts, transferring assets to herself and her kids, all while Mom is too sick to realize what's happening. When I tried to stop her, she turned the family against me and accused me of trying to exploit Mom. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe to Reddit Family Fallout, and turn on notifications. This story gets dark. Let's begin. I need to start with some background. I'm the youngest of 2 kids. Nicole is 38, married to Eric with 2 teenage sons, Tyler, 17, and Brandon, 15. I'm single, work in IT, and live in a different city about 3 hours from our hometown. Growing up, Nicole was the golden child. Straight A's, full scholarship to college, became a registered nurse, married young, had kids early. She was the one who always had her life together. I was the screw-up, took 6 years to finish college, bounced between jobs in my 20s, had a string of failed relationships. Mom never said it directly, but I always felt like Nicole was the favored one. Our father died when I was 19. Heart attack, sudden and unexpected. Mom never remarried, poured herself into her job as an accountant, and eventually retired at 65 with a decent pension and savings. She owned her house outright, had maybe $200,000 in retirement accounts and some other assets. Not wealthy, but comfortable. Nicole and Mom were always close. They lived near each other, saw each other multiple times a week, talked daily. I called Mom once a week, visited maybe once a month if I could manage it. I felt guilty about the distance, but life got busy. Last October, Mom called me crying. She'd just left her doctor's office. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, maybe 6 months to live with treatment. My world stopped. I drove down that weekend. Mom looked smaller somehow, fragile. Nicole was already in full caregiver mode, researching treatment options, scheduling appointments, organizing meals. "I need to get some legal things in order," Mom said during dinner. "Nicole's been helping me update my will and get power of attorney sorted out." "Power of attorney?" I asked. "In case I can't make decisions for myself," Mom explained. "With the chemo starting, I might not be clear-headed sometimes. Nicole will handle my finances and medical decisions if I can't." It made sense. Nicole lived close by, was a nurse, understood medical stuff. Of course she'd be the logical choice for POA. "What about the will?" I asked. "Everything splits 50-50 between you and Nicole. The house, my retirement accounts, everything. Fair and simple." Nicole nodded. "I helped Mom meet with a lawyer last week. All the paperwork is filed." I felt relieved. At least Mom's affairs were in order. Over the next few months, I visited when I could, but Nicole was the constant presence. She drove Mom to chemo appointments, handled medications, managed the house. I felt useless by comparison, just showing up occasionally while Nicole did all the hard work. Mom's condition deteriorated faster than expected. By February, she was bedridden most days, sleeping 18 to 20 hours. The chemo wasn't working. Her doctor suggested hospice care, but Nicole insisted Mom stay home. "She's more comfortable in her own house," Nicole told me over the phone. "I've got it handled." I visited in early March. Mom was barely responsive, heavily medicated for pain. The house felt different somehow, emptier. I noticed some of Mom's furniture was missing. "Where's Grandma's antique cabinet?" I asked Nicole. "Mom wanted to downsize. Too much clutter was stressing her out. I've been donating stuff to charity." It seemed reasonable. Mom was dying. Why keep stuff she'd never use again? Then came the day I saw the real estate listing. I was bored at work, scrolling through houses in Mom's area just out of curiosity, when I saw it. 349 Cedar Drive, $350,000, beautiful 3BR 2BA home in established neighborhood. That was Mom's address. I clicked through the photos. It was definitely Mom's house. I recognized every room, every detail. Listed 2 weeks ago by Remax. My hands started shaking. Why was Mom's house for sale? She was still living there. Nicole hadn't mentioned anything about selling. I called Nicole immediately. "Hey, I was just looking at real estate and saw..." Can I call you back? I'm with Mom right now. This is important. Why is Mom's house on the market while she's still living in it? Long pause. Ryan, this really isn't the time. Nicole, why is the house listed for sale while Mom is still living in it? Mom's moving into a care facility. The house needs to be sold to pay for it. What care facility? You said she was staying home. Plans changed. She needs more care than I can provide. When were you planning to tell me about this? I'm telling you now. Her tone was cold, defensive. Something was wrong. I want to see the POA documents and the paperwork for the house sale. Why? Don't you trust me? I just want to see them, Nicole. I have a right to know what's happening with Mom's assets. No, you don't. I have POA. I'm the one making decisions. You're 3 hours away doing nothing while I'm here handling everything, so back off. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, alarm bells ringing. Nicole's defensiveness, her refusal to share information, the sudden house sale. None of it felt right. I started digging. I started by calling Mom's lawyer, the one who'd supposedly helped with the will and POA. I looked up estate attorneys in Mom's town and started calling until I found the right one. I'm calling about my mother, Barbara Matthews. I believe you helped her with estate planning documents last year? I'm sorry, who are you? Ryan Matthews, her son. I'm trying to get copies of her power of attorney and updated will. Mr. Matthews, I can't discuss your mother's private legal matters without her consent. She has stage 4 cancer and is heavily medicated. My sister Nicole has POA. Can you at least confirm you worked with them? The lawyer was quiet for a moment. I did meet with your mother and sister last October, but I'm not at liberty to discuss details. Can you tell me if the documents were filed properly? Mr. Matthews, if you have concerns about how power of attorney is being exercised, you should consult your own attorney. That's all I can tell you. He hung up, but something in his tone bothered me. He didn't say the documents were fine. He said I should get a lawyer if I had concerns. That felt like a warning. I called Mom's bank next. They wouldn't tell me anything without POA or being on the account. Dead end. Then I remembered Mom had given me online access to her email years ago when she needed help with something tech-related. I'd never removed my access. I logged in. Her inbox was chaos, hundreds of unread emails dating back months. I started searching for anything financial. Real estate agent communications, bank statements, credit card bills. And then I found it, an email from Nicole's personal email to Mom's email dated 3 months ago. Mom, I'm forwarding you this for your records. The wire transfer of $85,000 from your savings to my account cleared today. Thanks for helping with Tyler's college fund like we discussed. Love you. I read it 3 times. $85,000 transferred to Nicole's account for Tyler's college fund? I kept digging. More emails. Wire transfer confirmation. $35,000 from Barbara Matthews to Nicole Matthews. Memo, vehicle purchase assistance. Property deed transfer notice. 349 Cedar Drive, ownership transferred from Barbara Matthews to Nicole Matthews. Bank notification. Savings account ending in 4782 closed. Remaining balance $94,000 transferred to checking account. The timeline emerged. Starting in November, just 1 month after Mom's diagnosis, Nicole had been systematically moving Mom's money and assets into her own name. I found the new will Nicole had supposedly helped Mom create. It was attached to an email from the lawyer. I opened it with shaking hands. The will left 80% of Mom's estate to Nicole and only 20% to me. The justification listed, Ryan has demonstrated financial irresponsibility and Nicole has provided primary care during my illness. This wasn't the 50-50 split Mom had told me about. I kept reading. Nicole was named executor. Nicole had authority to sell all property. Nicole could distribute personal belongings as she saw fit. The house sale I'd seen, that money would go into the estate, but with Nicole as executor controlling distribution and the will heavily favoring her, she'd get most of it. I added up everything I could find. House sale, $350,000, pending. Cash transferred to Nicole, $120,000 plus. Car sold, $15,000. Retirement accounts, unknown, but emails suggested these had been touched too. Mom's savings, nearly depleted. Nicole had stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars. I called Mom's house, shaking with rage. Nicole answered. We need to talk, now. Ryan, I told you. You've stolen Mom's money. I've seen the emails, the transfers, everything. You've taken over $100,000 for yourself while Mom is dying. Silence. Then, I don't know what you think you found, but everything I've done has been with Mom's consent. Mom's barely conscious. She doesn't even know what day it is. She was lucid when she gave me permission. The will says 80-20, Nicole. Mom told me it was 50-50. You lied to both of us. Mom changed her mind. She decided I deserved more because I'm the one taking care of her while you're off living your life 3 hours away. You manipulated a dying woman to steal her money. I've sacrificed everything for her. I quit my job to be her full-time caregiver. That money is compensation for my time and effort. That's not how inheritance works. You can't just take it while she's still alive. I have POA. I can do whatever is in her best interest, and it's in her best interest that I'm financially stable enough to continue caring for her. I'm getting a lawyer. Go ahead. By the time any lawyer does anything, Mom will be gone and the estate will be settled. Good luck proving anything. She hung up. I immediately called an elder law attorney I found through Google. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she agreed to see me the next morning. I drove the 3 hours to Mom's town that night, got a hotel, and showed up at Patricia's office first thing with printed copies of everything I'd found. Patricia reviewed the documents, her expression growing more concerned. "This is textbook financial abuse of an elder," she said. "Your sister has used her power of attorney to enrich herself at your mother's expense. Can we stop her? We can try, but these cases are difficult. Your sister will argue everything was done with your mother's consent. Given your mother's condition, it'll be hard to prove she wasn't capable of consenting. What do we do? First, we file an emergency petition with the court to suspend your sister's power of attorney and freeze your mother's remaining assets. Second, we request a forensic accounting of everything that's been done with your mother's money over the past 6 months. Third, we potentially pursue criminal charges for elder financial abuse. How long will this take? Months, potentially, and it's going to get ugly. Your sister will fight back hard. I don't care. She's stealing from our dying mother." Patricia nodded. "I'll start the paperwork today, but Ryan, you need to understand, this is going to destroy your family. Your sister will never forgive you. Other relatives will take sides, and there's a chance we won't recover everything she's taken. I know, but I can't just let her get away with this." We filed the emergency petition that afternoon. The court scheduled a hearing for the next week. I went to Mom's house that evening. Nicole's car was in the driveway. I knocked. Nicole opened the door, saw me, and her expression hardened. "You need to leave." "I want to see Mom." "No, you've made it clear you don't trust me, so you're not welcome in this house anymore." "It's Mom's house, not yours." "I have POA. I decide who gets access to Mom, and you don't." She started to close the door. I put my foot in the way. "Nicole, please. She's our mother. I just want to see her." "You're trying to take away my ability to care for her. You're causing her stress during the worst time of her life. You're selfish, and you only care about money. I care about protecting her from you. Get out now, or I'm calling the police." I pulled my foot back. The door slammed in my face. I stood on the porch of my childhood home, locked out by my own sister, unable to see my dying mother. That's when I knew this was war. The court hearing was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Patricia warned me that Nicole would likely bring her own lawyer and that we needed to be prepared for her to paint me as the bad guy. She was right. We entered the courtroom. Nicole was there with her husband, Eric, and an attorney named Robert Finch, who looked expensive. Nicole wouldn't even make eye contact with me. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Judge Ramsey, reviewed our petition. "Mr. Matthews is requesting emergency suspension of Miss Matthews' power of attorney over their mother, Barbara Matthews, along with a freeze on all remaining assets and a forensic accounting. Miss Matthews, your response." Robert Finch stood. "Your Honor, this is a vindictive action by a disgruntled son who's upset that his mother chose to favor his sister in her estate planning. Miss Nicole Matthews has been providing exemplary care for her terminally ill mother, has made all financial decisions with her mother's full knowledge and consent, and is now being harassed by her brother, who only appeared on the scene once he learned he wouldn't be getting half the inheritance." Patricia stood. "Your Honor, we have documentation of over $120,000 in direct transfers from Barbara Matthews' accounts to Nicole Matthews' personal accounts, sale of property, and depletion of savings, all occurring while Mrs. Matthews has been heavily medicated and cognitively impaired due to stage 4 cancer and chemotherapy." Judge Ramsey looked at Nicole. "Miss Matthews, can you explain these transfers?" Nicole stood, and I barely recognized her. She looked small, tired, her eyes red from crying. She dressed simply, jeans and a sweater, no makeup. She looked like a victim. "Your Honor, I've been caring for my mother 24/7 for 6 months. I quit my nursing job to do it. I've spent my own money on her medical supplies, special food, home modifications. The transfers my mother made to me were reimbursement for those expenses and compensation for my caregiving time. My mother insisted I be paid for sacrificing my career."
Do you have documentation of these expenses? I have some receipts. I didn't think I needed to keep every single one. I wasn't expecting my own brother to accuse me of theft. Patricia interjected. Your Honor, POA is not a license to self-deal. Even if Mrs. Matthews consented, Nicole had a fiduciary duty to act in her mother's best interest, not enrich herself. The amounts transferred far exceed reasonable caregiving compensation. Judge Ramsey looked at the documents. I'm inclined to order a temporary freeze on assets, pending investigation. However, I need to hear from Mrs. Matthews herself, if possible. Is she competent to testify? No, Your Honor, Robert Finch said quickly. Mrs. Matthews is under heavy pain medication and sleeps most of the day. She's not capable of courtroom testimony. Then I'll visit her myself. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., both parties will be present. I want to assess her condition and hear directly from her whether she consented to these transfers. My stomach dropped. If the judge questioned Mom while Nicole was in the room, Nicole would intimidate her, or Mom would be too confused to answer coherently. After the hearing, Patricia pulled me aside. The judge visiting is good. She'll see your mother's condition firsthand, but Nicole will try to prep your mother overnight. Can she do that? Not legally, but who's going to stop her? You're barred from the house. This is insane. Welcome to elder abuse cases. The system is slow, and the abusers have all the access. That night, I did something desperate. I called my Uncle Ray, Mom's younger brother who lived an hour away. Uncle Ray, I need your help. Nicole's been stealing from Mom. I explained everything. Uncle Ray listened quietly. Ryan, I'm going to be honest with you. Nicole called me last week, told me you were trying to take advantage of Mom, that you were angry about the will and making false accusations. My heart sank. She's lying, Uncle Ray. I have proof. I believe you. Barbara would never willingly give Nicole 80% of her estate. Your mom loved you both equally. Something's wrong here. Will you come to the house tomorrow? Be there when the judge visits? Your mom's brother, Nicole, can't ban you. I'll be there, 9:30 a.m. The next morning, we all converged on Mom's house. Judge Ramsey arrived with a court reporter. Patricia and I stood on the lawn. Nicole still wouldn't let me in the house. Uncle Ray showed up and walked right past Nicole into the house. You can't stop me from seeing my sister, he said firmly when Nicole tried to object. We all entered the house. Mom was in the living room, set up in a hospital bed. She looked terrible, thin, pale, and barely conscious. The smell of medication and sickness hung in the air. Judge Ramsey approached gently. Mrs. Matthews, can you hear me? Mom's eyes fluttered open. Hello? I'm Judge Ramsey. I need to ask you some questions about your finances. Is that okay? Finances? Mom looked confused. Your daughter Nicole has been helping you with money matters. Do you remember giving her permission to transfer money from your accounts? Mom looked at Nicole, then at the judge. Nicole helps me. She's a good girl. Yes, but specifically, did you tell Nicole you could transfer over $100,000 to her personal account? I don't remember. What day is it? It's Tuesday, March 19th. It's March? I thought... Mom trailed off, eyes closing. Judge Ramsey looked at Nicole. Wake her up, please. Nicole gently shook Mom's shoulder. Mom, the judge needs to talk to you. Mom opened her eyes again, but they were focused. Judge Ramsey tried a different approach. Mrs. Matthews, do you know your son, Ryan, is here? Mom's eyes found me. For a moment, she seemed to focus. Ryan? When did you get here? Just now, Mom. Are you staying for dinner? I felt my throat tighten. Mom thought it was a normal visit. She had no idea what was happening around her. Mrs. Matthews, do you want your estate split 50-50 between Ryan and Nicole, or 80-20? Split? Nicole, what did we decide? You wanted me to have more because I've been taking care of you, Nicole prompted. Uncle Ray stepped forward. Barbara, do you remember telling me last year that you wanted everything split equally between your kids? Mom looked at him confused. Ray, is that you? It's me, sis. When did you get so old? Mom smiled weakly. Judge Ramsey stepped back. She'd seen enough. Mrs. Matthews clearly lacks the capacity to have consented to recent financial transactions in any meaningful way. I'm ordering an immediate freeze on all remaining assets and appointing a temporary guardian ad litem to represent Mrs. Matthews' interests. A forensic accountant will review all transactions from the past year. This court is adjourned. Nicole's face went white. Robert Finch immediately objected. Your Honor, this is premature. Overruled. My order stands. As everyone filed out, Nicole cornered me in the driveway. You're destroying this family. Mom is dying and you're dragging her through court proceedings. You're a selfish bastard who only cares about money. You're the one who stole from her. I took care of her. Where were you? 3 hours away, visiting once a month, doing nothing while I sacrificed my entire life? That doesn't give you the right to rob her." Eric pulled Nicole away before she could respond. Uncle Ray put a hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing, Ryan. But why does it feel so wrong? Because Nicole is your sister, but right now, your sister is also a criminal. Those two things can both be true."
The forensic accountant's preliminary report came back 2 weeks later. The full scope of Nicole's theft was even worse than I'd thought. Over 6 months, Nicole had transferred $143,000 from Mom's accounts to her own, sold Mom's car for $15,000, kept the money, listed and accepted an offer on Mom's house, $350,000, though sale hadn't closed yet, transferred ownership of a small rental property Mom owned to herself, value $120,000, liquidated Mom's IRA early, paying massive penalties, $94,000 remaining after penalties, transferred to Nicole's account. Opened 2 credit cards in Mom's name and maxed them out, $35,000 in charges, mostly to stores and services Nicole used. Total, approximately $407,000 in assets stolen or misappropriated. What Mom had left: checking account, $2,400, savings, 0, house in the process of being sold, retirement accounts, emptied. Nicole had systematically looted our dying mother's entire life savings. Patricia filed criminal charges with the district attorney's office: elder financial abuse, theft, fraud. The DA agreed to investigate. Meanwhile, the guardian ad litem, a lawyer named Thomas Berg, appointed by the court to represent Mom's interests, was working to reverse what he could. The house sale was halted, the rental property transfer was challenged, criminal asset seizure was initiated for Nicole's accounts. But the money Nicole had already spent? That was gone. Tyler's college fund, Brandon's new car, home renovations Nicole had done, vacations the family had taken, all funded by Mom's stolen money. Then things got worse. Nicole started a Facebook campaign. She posted photos of herself with Mom, wrote long, tearful posts about being a devoted caregiver, accused me of elder abuse for subjecting my dying mother to traumatic court proceedings. Her posts went viral in our hometown. People who'd known our family for decades commented their support. "Nicole has been such a dedicated daughter. Shame on Ryan." Money brings out the worst in people. Ryan should be ashamed. This poor woman is dying, and her son is dragging her through court. Disgusting. My aunt, Mom's older sister, Helen, called me. "Ryan, what are you doing? Nicole's been wonderful to your mother. This is about money, isn't it? You're just angry about the will." "Aunt Helen, Nicole stole over $400,000 from Mom." "That's Nicole's money. Barbara gave it to her for all the caregiving. Mom doesn't even know what month it is. She can't consent to giving away that kind of money." "You're jealous that Nicole is the favorite. You always have been, and now you're punishing her for being a good daughter." She hung up on me. More relatives took sides. Cousins I'd grown up with blocked me on social media. My Uncle Ray was one of the few family members who supported me, and even he was getting heat from other relatives for betraying Nicole. "They don't want to believe Nicole would do this. It's easier to believe you're the greedy bad son than to accept that Nicole has been stealing from your dying mother." The stress was destroying me. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. I'd started having panic attacks. And worst of all, I still couldn't see Mom. The guardian ad litem had arranged for Nicole to continue as caregiver, since removing her would disrupt Mom's care. But he'd also gotten a court order requiring Nicole to allow me visitation. Nicole complied with the letter of the law, but not the spirit. When I showed up for my designated visiting hours, Mom would be sleeping or having a bad day. Nicole would hover the entire time, making it impossible to have any real conversation. During one visit, I sat by Mom's bed, holding her hand. She was barely conscious. "Mom, I'm fighting for you," I whispered. "I know you don't understand what's happening, but Nicole's been taking your money. I'm trying to get it back." Nicole, standing in the doorway, spoke up. "Ryan, don't upset her with this. She deserves to know." "She doesn't understand. You're just confusing her." Mom's eyes opened slightly. "Don't fight," she whispered. "Your brother and sister. Family." "Mom, Nicole." "Don't fight," Mom repeated, then drifted off again. I left feeling defeated. Even if I won in court, even if I recovered the money, I'd never recover my relationship with my sister, and Mom would die thinking we hated each other. A month into the legal proceedings, the DA's office called. They were moving forward with criminal charges against Nicole: elder financial abuse, theft, fraud. The DA agreed to move forward. Nicole's lawyer immediately went on the offensive, filing motions to dismiss, claiming everything was done with consent, arguing that family caregiving arrangements shouldn't be criminalized. Local media picked up the story. Sister charged with stealing from dying mother, family divided over inheritance battle. The comments section was split. If the mom gave her permission, it's not theft. The sister was providing care. She deserves compensation. This is classic elder abuse. She belongs in prison. Why can't this family work this out privately instead of dragging it through court? That last comment stung, because I'd asked myself the same thing. But what choice did I have? Nicole wasn't going to voluntarily give back the money. She believed she deserved it. Then, Mom's condition took a sharp turn. She was moved into hospice care. The doctors said she had days, maybe a week or 2 at most. I rushed to the hospice facility. Nicole was already there with Eric and their sons. The 4 of them had essentially set up camp in Mom's room. I stood in the doorway. Tyler and Brandon, my nephews, kids I'd watched grow up, wouldn't even look at me. Eric glared. Nicole's face was stone. "I just want to say goodbye," I said quietly. Nicole stood. "You have 5 minutes. We'll be right outside." She herded her family out, leaving me alone with my dying mother. Mom looked so small in that bed. The cancer had eaten away at her until she was barely recognizable. Her breathing was labored, shallow. I sat by Mom's bed, holding her hand. She was barely conscious. "I'm sorry I wasn't around more. I'm sorry I let Nicole do this to you. I'm sorry our family fell apart right when you needed us most." No response, just the sound of the oxygen machine and her struggling breath. "I love you, Mom. I hope you know that. Everything I've done, I did because I love you." I sat with her for my allotted 5 minutes. Then Nicole came back in. "Time's up." "Can I have a few more?" "Time is up." I left, knowing it might be the last time I'd see my mother alive. 3 days later, at 3 a.m., I got the call. Mom was gone.
Nicole didn't call me when Mom died. The hospice facility did, because I was listed as next of kin. By the time I got there, Mom's body had already been taken by the funeral home, the one Nicole had prearranged without consulting me. I wasn't included in the funeral planning, wasn't asked about the obituary, wasn't consulted about anything. Nicole handled it all as executor of Mom's estate, even though that authority was being challenged in court. The funeral was scheduled for the following Saturday. I showed up early, wanting to see Mom one last time before the service. Nicole intercepted me at the door. "There's a family viewing hour before the public service. Family only." "I am family. You sued Mom. You made her last months a legal nightmare. You're not welcome at the family viewing." Behind her, I could see relatives filing in. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all of them glaring at me like I was the villain. "Nicole, please, she was my mother too." "Then you should have acted like it instead of dragging her through court for money." "I was protecting her from you." A funeral home employee intervened. "Ma'am, sir, please, this is not the place." I backed off, stood outside for an hour while Nicole's version of family got their private goodbye. When the public viewing finally opened, I went in. Mom looked peaceful in her casket, at least. They'd done her makeup, dressed her in her favorite blue dress. For a moment, I could pretend she was just sleeping. I stood there until Nicole announced the service was starting. I sat in the back row. Nicole, Eric, and the boys sat in the front. The message was clear. They were the real family. I was an outsider. The service was surreal. Person after person got up and talked about how wonderful Nicole had been as a caregiver, how devoted, how selfless. Not a single person mentioned me. It was like I didn't exist. Then came Nicole's eulogy. She stood at the podium, composed herself, and spoke, "My mother was the strongest woman I've ever known. When she got her diagnosis, she didn't fall apart. She made plans. She put her affairs in order. She asked me to take care of her, and I promised I would." Tears ran down her face. The audience was captivated. Being Mom's caregiver was the hardest thing I've ever done. Watching her decline, managing her pain, being there for every difficult moment. But it was also an honor. I got to spend those final months with her. I got to hold her hand. I got to tell her I loved her every single day. She paused, wiped her eyes. Unfortunately, those final months were made harder by family conflict. My brother Ryan chose to sue my mother, to drag her through legal proceedings, to question every decision I made on her behalf. It broke her heart.
She told me in one of her lucid moments that she couldn't understand why Ryan was doing this, why he cared more about money than family. I felt everyone's eyes on me. I wanted to stand up and scream the truth, but what good would it do? They'd already decided I was the bad guy. But Mom also taught me forgiveness, Nicole continued. She always said family was the most important thing. So even though I'm hurt, even though I'm angry, I'm choosing to forgive Ryan, because that's what Mom would have wanted. The audience nodded approvingly. Nicole had positioned herself as the magnanimous victim, graciously forgiving her terrible brother. After the service, at the reception, I tried to speak to a few relatives. Most avoided me. Aunt Helen actually walked away mid-conversation. Uncle Ray was the only one who stayed by my side. This is so messed up. Half these people have no idea what Nicole did. Should I tell them? Would they believe you? Nicole spent months poisoning them against you, and now she's got the sympathy card, grieving daughter who cared for her mother while the ungrateful son sued. So she just wins? In the court of public opinion, yeah, she's already won. But legal court, that's different. The evidence doesn't lie. The criminal trial was set for 3 months out. In the meantime, Thomas Berg, the guardian ad litem, was working on recovering what assets he could for the estate. The house sold, but instead of the money going to Nicole, it went into an escrow account pending the outcome of the legal proceedings. That was $350,000 Nicole couldn't touch. The rental property transfer was reversed, another $120,000 back in play. But the cash she had transferred to herself, most of that was gone, spent. The forensic accountant traced some of it, Tyler's college fund, Brandon's car, home improvements, but recovering it would require suing Nicole personally and potentially seizing her assets. Even if we win, you're looking at maybe getting back 60 to 70% of what was stolen. The rest is just gone, Patricia warned me. What about the criminal case? If she's convicted, doesn't she have to pay restitution? In theory, but if she doesn't have the money, you can't squeeze blood from a stone. She could declare bankruptcy. So she steals $400,000 and faces no real consequences? Oh, she'll face consequences. Prison time, criminal record, loss of nursing license. Her life as she knows it will be over, but financially, she might get away with a chunk of it. That's not justice. Welcome to elder abuse cases. The victims rarely get full justice. Weeks passed. The criminal case moved through pre-trial proceedings. Nicole's lawyer was pushing for a plea deal, reduced charges in exchange for guilty plea and partial restitution. The DA offered, plead guilty to 1 count of elder financial abuse, pay back $200,000, serve 2 years probation and 500 hours community service. No prison time. I was furious. She stole over $400,000 and they're letting her walk with probation? The DA doesn't think he can prove all the charges, Patricia explained. Nicole's lawyer will argue that some of the transfers were consented to, that caregiving expenses were legitimate, that Mom's will changes were her choice. A jury might believe her. So we take the deal? It's not our choice, it's the DA's, but we can argue against it. I went to the DA's office and pleaded my case. The prosecutor, a tired-looking woman named Amanda Rodriguez, listened patiently. Mr. Matthews, I understand your frustration, but I have to think pragmatically. Your mother is deceased, so she can't testify. The defense will put on witnesses saying your sister was a devoted caregiver who deserved compensation. Some of the financial transactions can plausibly be explained as caregiving expenses. A jury trial is risky. But we have evidence. The amount don't match reasonable caregiving costs. I believe you, but convincing 12 jurors beyond a reasonable doubt is different from convincing you or me. The defense will create reasonable doubt. They'll paint you as the greedy brother angry about inheritance. They'll make your sister sympathetic. So criminals just get away with it if they're sympathetic enough? No, but sometimes we have to accept partial justice instead of risking no justice at all. With this plea deal, your sister gets a criminal record, pays back $200,000, and has restrictions on her for 2 years. That's something. It's not enough. I know, but it's what's achievable. Nicole took the plea deal. At the hearing, she stood before the judge and admitted guilt to 1 count of elder financial abuse. She cried, apologized, said she'd made mistakes but had been overwhelmed with caregiving stress. Judge Ramsey wasn't buying it. Miss Matthews, you systematically stole from your vulnerable mother over many months. This wasn't a momentary lapse of judgment. This was calculated theft. I'm accepting this plea deal only because the state believes it's the best outcome, but know that I find your conduct reprehensible. Nicole was sentenced to 2 years probation, 500 hours community service, and ordered to pay back $200,000 in restitution to Mom's estate within 5 years. After the hearing, I approached Nicole in the hallway. Eric moved to block me, but I ignored him. I hope it was worth it. Destroying our family, stealing from Mom, all for money you're going to have to pay back anyway? Nicole looked at me with cold eyes. I have no regrets. I earned that money taking care of her while you did nothing. The only thing I regret is getting caught. You're not even sorry? Sorry for what? Being a devoted daughter? You'll never understand what I sacrificed. I understand you're a thief and a liar. And you're a self-righteous asshole who couldn't stand that Mom loved me more. Eric pulled her away before I could respond. After the plea deal, the civil estate proceedings moved forward. With Nicole's criminal conviction on record, it was easier to challenge the will she'd helped Mom create. Thomas Berg filed a motion to invalidate the 80-20 will on grounds that it was executed while Mom lacked capacity and under Nicole's undue influence. He argued for reverting to Mom's previous will from 5 years earlier, which split everything 50-50. Nicole's lawyer fought it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Judge Ramsey ruled in our favor. The fraudulent will was thrown out. Everything would split equally between Nicole and me, as Mom had originally intended. But everything wasn't much anymore. After Nicole's theft and the legal fees, here's what remained. House sale proceeds, $350,000. Rental property value, $120,000. Mom's checking account, $2,400. Recovered funds from Nicole, $47,000. Partial restitution paid immediately. Total estate, $519,400. Minus funeral costs, $12,000. Legal fees, guardian ad litem, estate lawyer, forensic accountant, $89,000. Outstanding medical bills, $34,000. Credit card debt Nicole had racked up in Mom's name, $35,000. Net estate, $349,400. Split 50-50, $174,700 each. Mom had died with over $600,000 in assets. After Nicole's theft and the legal battle to recover what we could, I was getting $174,700. Nicole was getting the same amount, minus the $200,000 restitution she owed. Meaning Nicole would have to pay back $200,000, but was only entitled to $174,700 from the estate. She'd be in the hole $25,300, plus she'd already spent over $100,000 of the stolen money that was gone forever. Patricia walked me through the math. Essentially, Nicole stole over $400,000, got to keep about $100,000 of it, and has to pay back $200,000 she doesn't have. She'll likely declare bankruptcy. So she wins. She got $100,000 she never would have gotten. In a sense, but she also has a criminal record, lost her nursing license, destroyed her reputation, and alienated half the family. That has value too, even if it's not financial. It doesn't feel like justice. It's not. It's just the best outcome we could get. The final estate settlement took another 3 months to process. When I finally received my $174,700 check, I stared at it for a long time. This was Mom's life savings, reduced to a number on a piece of paper. All her years of work, all her careful saving, all her plans for leaving something for her children, reduced to this. And half of it was going to the daughter who'd stolen from her. I donated $50,000 of my inheritance to the hospice facility that had cared for Mom. It felt right to put some of that money toward helping others rather than keeping it all for myself. I also used $10,000 to pay for a proper headstone for Mom's grave, something Nicole had cheaped out on. I had it engraved with "Beloved Mother, Barbara Jean Matthews, 1958 to 2024. Gone too soon, remembered always." The remaining $114,700 went into savings. I couldn't bring myself to spend it. It felt tainted. 6 months after Mom's death, I went to the cemetery. I hadn't been since the funeral. Mom's grave had fresh flowers. Nicole had been there recently. I sat down on the grass next to the headstone. "Hey, Mom, I hope you're proud of what I did. I know it tore the family apart. I know you died thinking Nicole and I hated each other. Maybe we do now. But I couldn't let her get away with stealing from you." The wind rustled through the trees. No answers came. "I miss you. I miss being able to call you and tell you about my week. I miss your advice, even when I didn't want to hear it. I miss having a family that wasn't completely broken. I stayed for an hour, just sitting there, before finally leaving. Life moved on. I went back to work, back to my routine, but everything felt hollow. The legal battle had consumed a year of my life, cost me my relationship with my sister and most of my extended family, and left me with trauma I'm still processing. Then, a year after Mom's death, I got a Facebook message from Tyler, my nephew, Nicole's oldest son. "Uncle Ryan, can we talk? I know Mom said I shouldn't contact you, but I need to know the truth about what happened." I called him immediately. Tyler was 18 now, graduated from high school, about to start college. "Thanks for calling," he said. "I've been wanting to reach out for months." "What changed?" "I found some papers Mom was trying to hide, bank statements from Grandma's accounts showing the transfers. I did the math. She took way more than she ever told us about." "Your mom told you about the money?" "She said Grandma gave her like $30,000 to help with my college fund and to compensate her for caregiving. That seemed reasonable, but these statements show $143,000 just in direct transfers, plus all the other stuff. That's not compensation, that's theft." "Yeah, it is." "Uncle Ryan, I need to know, is the version Mom told us true? That you sued Grandma and made her last months miserable? Or did Mom steal from her?" I took a deep breath. "Your mom stole from your grandmother. She systematically emptied her accounts while your grandmother was dying and too sick to stop her. When I found out and tried to intervene, Mom turned the family against me and made me look like the bad guy." Silence on the other end. Then, I was afraid that was the truth. Mom's been different since all this happened. Paranoid, secretive, angry all the time. She and Dad fight constantly about money. Brandon doesn't want anything to do with her. "Brandon?" "My brother. He moved in with Dad's parents a few months ago. He can't stand being around Mom." "I'm sorry, Tyler. I know this is hard." "Did she really have to give the money back?" "She was supposed to pay $200,000 in restitution. She's paid maybe $50,000 so far. She declared bankruptcy to avoid paying the rest." "Jesus, so she just gets away with it?" "More or less. She has a criminal record, lost her nursing license, but financially she came out ahead." "That's so messed up." Tyler paused. "Uncle Ryan, I'm sorry for believing her, for treating you like the bad guy. I was 17, and my mom was telling you were trying to hurt the family. I didn't know any better." "It's not your fault. You were put in an impossible position. I want to have a relationship with you, if that's okay. I know we haven't talked in a year, but you're still my uncle." "I'd like that, Tyler." We started meeting for lunch once a month. Tyler told me about college, his girlfriend, his plans. He also told me about the fallout in Nicole's life. Her marriage was falling apart. Eric had been furious when he found out the full extent of what she'd done. She'd lied to him, too, claiming she only took what Mom had willingly given. When he learned about the $143,000 in transfers, the maxed-out credit cards, all of it, he moved into the guest bedroom and started talking about divorce. Nicole couldn't find work. Her nursing license was suspended due to the criminal conviction. She applied for other jobs, but the background check always killed her chances. She'd burned through the money she'd stolen. Tyler's college fund was gone. He was on student loans now. Brandon's car had been repossessed when Nicole couldn't make payments. The home improvements she'd done were being undone because they couldn't afford the increased property taxes. Mom keeps saying she was right to take the money, that she earned it, but I don't see how bankrupting our family was worth it. Your mom convinced herself that her caregiving justified the theft. She needed to believe that to live with what she did. Do you hate her, my mom? I don't know what I feel. She's my sister. I grew up with her, but she stole from our dying mother and then tried to destroy me when I called her out. How do you reconcile those things? I don't know either. 2 years after Mom's death, I ran into Nicole at the grocery store. It was the first time we'd seen each other face to face since the criminal trial. We both froze in the aisle. She looked older, tired. Her clothes were cheaper than she used to wear. She'd gained weight. The stress had aged her. "Ryan," she said stiffly. "Nicole." Awkward silence. "How are you?" I asked, more out of reflex than genuine interest. "Fine. You?" "Fine." More silence. We were strangers now, connected only by shared DNA and shared trauma. "Tyler told me you two have been meeting. I don't appreciate you poisoning."
Against me? I haven't poisoned anyone.
He asked for the truth, and I gave it to him. Your version of the truth. The version that has court documents and bank statements backing it up. Her face hardened. I did what I had to do. Mom needed care, and I provided it. You'll never understand the sacrifice I made. You stole from her, Nicole. You can dress it up however you want, but that's what you did. I earned that money. By lying to a dying woman and stealing her life savings? That's not earning, that's theft. You know what? I'm glad I took it, because if I hadn't, you would have gotten half of everything without doing a damn thing to help Mom. At least I was there for her. You were there to rob her. Fuck you, Ryan. You won in court, you got your money, you got to play the hero, but you and I both know the truth. You only cared about the inheritance. You never cared about Mom. That's not true. Yes, it is. You were fine with me handling everything until you realized you weren't getting as much money as you wanted. Then suddenly you cared. Well, congratulations. You got your money. Hope it was worth destroying the family over. She walked away, leaving me standing there in the frozen food aisle, shaking with anger. Was she right? Had I only cared about the money? No, I cared about protecting Mom, but if I was honest with myself, the money had mattered too. Not because I was greedy, but because it represented Mom's legacy, her life's work. Letting Nicole steal it would have meant letting everything Mom built disappear into Nicole's selfish void. But Nicole would never see it that way. In her mind, she was the victim, the devoted daughter who sacrificed everything and got punished for it by her ungrateful brother. We would never reconcile. That much was clear. 3 years after Mom's death, I'd mostly moved on with my life. I'd gotten a new job with a promotion, started dating someone seriously, a woman named Claire who knew the whole story and didn't judge me for it. Made peace with the fact that my relationship with Nicole was permanently destroyed. But the scars remained. I had trust issues, anxiety about money, nightmares about being locked out of Mom's house while she died inside. Therapy helped. My therapist specialized in family trauma and elder abuse cases. She helped me understand that what I'd experienced wasn't just a family dispute. It was witnessing a crime being committed against someone I loved and being powerless to stop it until it was too late. You did everything right, Dr. Walsh told me during one session. You reported it, you fought legally, you protected your mother's interests. The fact that the system didn't deliver perfect justice isn't your failure. But Nicole got away with it. She stole over $400,000 and only had to pay back $50,000 before declaring bankruptcy. Did she get away with it? She lost her career, her marriage is ending, her sons don't respect her, her reputation is destroyed. She'll carry a criminal record forever. Yes, she kept some money, but she paid a price. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does for victims. But you have to decide, are you going to spend the rest of your life angry about what Nicole did, or are you going to move forward and build a life that honors your mother's memory? She was right. Being consumed with anger at Nicole was only hurting me. I started volunteering with an elder advocacy group. I shared my story at community events, warning families about the dangers of power of attorney abuse. I helped other people who were going through similar situations, connecting them with lawyers and resources. It felt good to turn Mom's tragedy into something useful. Then, 4 years after Mom's death, Tyler called me, sounding panicked. "Uncle Ryan, I need your help. It's about Mom." "What happened?" "She's broke, like completely broke. She spent all the money she took from Grandma, declared bankruptcy, and now she can't pay rent. She's asking me and Brandon to support her financially." "What did you tell her?" "I told her no. I have student loans and I'm barely making ends meet. Brandon's still in school. We can't support her." "What about Eric?" "Dad divorced her 6 months ago. He's done. He told her she made her bed and now she has to lie in it." "So what's Nicole going to do?" "She wants to move in with me, says she's family and I have an obligation to help her." "Uncle Ryan, I can't. I have a 1-bedroom apartment and a roommate. And honestly, after everything that happened, I don't want her living with me." "Have you told her that?" "I tried. She started crying, saying I was abandoning her just like everyone else, that after all she sacrificed for us, we owe her." The manipulation was classic Nicole. Create a crisis, make it everyone else's responsibility to fix, guilt-trip them into compliance. "Tyler, you don't owe her anything. She made choices that led to this situation. You're not responsible for bailing her out." "But she's my mom. Doesn't that count for something?" "It counts for caring about her. It doesn't count for lighting yourself on fire to keep her warm. If you let her move in, she'll take over your life. She'll guilt you into paying her bills, supporting her lifestyle, sacrificing your future for her mistakes." "That's what Dad said too." "Your dad's right. Nicole is an adult who made adult choices. She has to live with the consequences." "Can you talk to her? She won't listen to me, but maybe she'll listen to you."
Tyler, your mom hasn't spoken to me in years. She hates me. Please, I don't know what else to do. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Tyler gave me Nicole's current phone number. I called her that evening. Hello? She sounded wary. Nicole, it's Ryan. Tyler asked me to call. Of course he did. Can't even face his own mother, has to get his uncle involved. He's worried about you. He told me about your situation. My situation? You mean being broke and homeless because the legal system robbed me of money I earned? Nicole, you stole that money. You paid it back in restitution. The system didn't rob you. You robbed Mom. I'm not doing this with you. If you called to lecture me, I'm hanging up. I called because Tyler is panicking. He can't support you financially, and he can't let you move in, but he feels guilty about it. He should feel guilty. I'm his mother. I raised him, sacrificed my career for him, and now he's abandoning me when I need help? You sacrificed your career because you committed a crime, Nicole. You lost your nursing license because you stole from our dying mother. Tyler didn't cause that. You just can't help yourself, can you? Always have to be right. Always have to judge me. I'm not judging. I'm stating facts. You're in a tough spot financially because of choices you made. Tyler is not obligated to fix it. Then what am I supposed to do, Ryan? I'm 42 years old with no job, no money, and about to be evicted. Where am I supposed to go? For a moment, I actually felt sorry for her. Then I remembered Mom's empty bank accounts, the maxed out credit cards, the house that had to be sold. There are resources for people in your situation. Homeless shelters, job training programs, social services. Have you applied for any of them? I'm not going to a homeless shelter. I'm not some drug addict. I'm a registered nurse who made a mistake. You're a registered nurse whose license was revoked for committing a crime. That's different than making a mistake. Why did you even call if you're just going to be cruel? I called to tell you that Tyler is not your solution. He's 22 years old, drowning in student debt, trying to start his life. You can't make him responsible for yours. Fine, I'll figure it out myself, like I always do. Thanks for nothing, Ryan. She hung up. I called Tyler back. I talked to your mom. She's not going to make it easy on you, but stand firm. Don't let her guilt you into derailing your life for her. Thanks, Uncle Ryan. I just feel so guilty. I know, that's what she's counting on, but you can care about her without sacrificing yourself. Over the next few months, Tyler kept me updated. Nicole did end up in a shelter briefly. Then she found a room in a boarding house, cramped and depressing, but affordable. She got a job as a cashier at a grocery store. She hated it, complained constantly, but it was income. Eric, despite divorcing her, ended up giving her some money out of pity. Not much, but enough to keep her afloat. Tyler sent her $50 here and there when he could spare it. Brandon still refused any contact with her. Nicole had gone from comfortable middle-class life with a professional career to working minimum wage and living in a boarding house, all because she'd been too greedy to settle for her fair share of Mom's inheritance. Meanwhile, I'd used my inheritance to pay off my car, put a down payment on a small condo, and invested the rest. I wasn't wealthy, but I was stable, and every financial decision I made, I thought about Mom. Would she be proud of this choice? Am I honoring her legacy? 5 years after Mom's death, on the anniversary, I visited her grave. I'd made it an annual tradition. Someone had been there recently. Fresh flowers sat next to the headstone. Nicole, probably. For all her faults, she did still visit Mom. I placed my own flowers and sat down. Hey, Mom, 5 years. Still doesn't feel real sometimes. I keep wanting to call you and tell you about my life. About Claire, I think you'd like her. About Tyler, who turned into a really good man despite everything. About how I've been trying to do something positive with what happened to you. The cemetery was quiet except for birds and wind. I don't think about Nicole as much anymore. The anger's faded. Now it's just sad. Sad that she threw away our family for money. Sad that you died thinking we hated each other. Sad that we can't fix any of it. I stayed until the sun started setting, then headed home. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Nicole. I know we don't talk, but I wanted you to know I was at Mom's grave today. I saw your flowers. The headstone is beautiful. Thank you for doing that. She would have loved it. I stared at the text for a long time. It was the closest thing to an olive branch Nicole had extended in 5 years. I typed and deleted 3 different responses, finally settling on, "You're welcome. Mom deserved to be remembered well." Her response came 5 minutes later. "I know you think I'm a terrible person. Maybe I am, but I did love her. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. I believe you loved her. I just think you loved the money more. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's how I feel." The conversation ended there, but it was the first civil exchange we'd had in years. Maybe someday we'd talk again, really talk. Probably not, but at least we'd both shown up at Mom's grave.
we'd both still cared enough to remember her. It wasn't forgiveness, it wasn't reconciliation, it was just acknowledgement that despite everything, we'd both lost the same mother. And that loss connected us, even as everything else divided us. 6 years after Mom's death, life had settled into a new normal. Claire and I got married, a small ceremony with close friends. Tyler was in the wedding party. I'd invited Nicole out of obligation, not expecting her to come. She didn't. Brandon reached out around that time. He was 21, in his senior year of college, and wanted to reconnect. "I'm sorry I disappeared," he said when we met for coffee. "After everything went down with Mom and Grandma, I couldn't deal with family drama, so I shut everyone out." "I understand." "Tyler told me you've been helping him, giving him advice. I wish I'd had that. You have it now if you want it." We started meeting regularly. Brandon was different from Tyler, angrier, more bitter about what Nicole had done. "Mom destroyed our family for money," he said during one of our conversations. "Dad's gone, Tyler barely talks to her, I haven't spoken to her in 3 years. Was it worth it? The money's gone and she has nothing. You'd have to ask her. I'm not asking her anything, I'm done." "She's still your mother, Brandon." "Biology doesn't mean much when the person used it to manipulate and steal. Grandma was family, and Mom robbed her blind. Why should I give Mom more chances to hurt me?" I couldn't argue with his logic. Nicole had burned every bridge she'd had, and the consequences were catching up with her. Then, 7 years after Mom's death, I got a call from Eric, my former brother-in-law. "Ryan, I know we haven't talked since the divorce, but I thought you should know. Nicole's in the hospital. She had a stroke." My stomach dropped. "Is she okay?" "She'll survive, but it's bad. Partial paralysis on her left side, speech difficulties. She's going to need long-term care and rehabilitation." "What about insurance?" "She doesn't have any. Lost her coverage when she lost her nursing job. She's been uninsured for years." "Jesus." "The hospital is already talking about discharging her to a skilled nursing facility, but those places cost thousands a month. She has no money, no assets, nothing." "What about Medicaid?" "She's applying, but the process takes time. In the meantime, someone needs to make decisions about her care. As her ex-husband, I can't do it legally. It needs to be next of kin." "Her sons?" "Tyler and Brandon. But Brandon won't even return her calls. Tyler's willing, but he's overwhelmed. He's 24 years old, Ryan. He doesn't know how to navigate hospital bureaucracy or apply for Medicaid or find nursing facilities." "What are you asking me?" "I'm asking if you'll help. Not for Nicole's sake, for her sons. They're good kids who don't deserve to be dealing with this alone." I wanted to say no, wanted to tell Eric that Nicole made her choices and now she had to live with them. But Tyler and Brandon were innocent in all this. "I'll help Tyler and Brandon navigate the system, but I'm not doing it for Nicole." "Fair enough." I met Tyler at the hospital the next day. Nicole was in a recovery room, hooked up to monitors, her left side visibly weaker than her right. When she saw me, her eyes widened. "Ryan?" Her speech was slurred, difficult to understand. Tyler asked me to come, to help with the logistics. She tried to sit up, but couldn't. Tears leaked from her eyes. "I don't need your help." "Maybe not, but Tyler does, so I'm here." Over the next week, I helped Tyler apply for emergency Medicaid, research skilled nursing facilities, and understand the care options. The prognosis was grim. Nicole would likely never fully recover. She'd need assistance with basic daily activities for the rest of her life. The nursing facility they found was state-funded, bare bones, small rooms, minimal staff, the smell of disinfectant and old age. It was depressing. But it was what Nicole could afford, which was nothing. Tyler struggled with guilt. "This is my mom. She shouldn't be in a place like this." "Tyler, you've done everything you can. This is the best available option given her situation." "But what if we pooled money? You, me, Brandon, Dad? We could afford a nicer place." "And how long could you sustain that? These facilities cost $5,000 to $8,000 a month. You'd bankrupt yourself trying to provide care she should have been able to afford herself if she hadn't stolen and spent all Mom's money." "So she just suffers because of mistakes she made years ago?" "She suffers because of choices she made, yes. Tyler, I know it's hard, but you can't sacrifice your future to fix your mother's past." Brandon refused to visit Nicole at all. When Tyler begged him to come at least once, Brandon exploded. "Why should I? She stole from Grandma, lied to all of us, destroyed our family, and now I'm supposed to feel sorry for her? Where was her concern for us when she was spending our college funds on home renovations?" "She's had a stroke, Brandon. She's paralyzed. She's in a state nursing home. Don't you have any compassion?" "I have compassion for Grandma, who died knowing her daughter robbed her. I have compassion for Uncle Ryan, who got dragged through hell for telling the truth. I don't have compassion for Mom. She made her choices. Tyler came to me crying after that conversation. My family is so broken, Uncle Ryan. Brandon won't visit Mom. Mom is barely functional. Dad has moved on with his life. How did it get this bad? It got this bad because your mom made catastrophically selfish decisions, and those decisions had consequences that rippled through everyone's lives. Will it ever get better? I don't know. Some wounds don't heal. They just become scars you learn to live with. 8 years after Mom's death, I found myself in a strange position, visiting Nicole in the nursing home once a month, not because I'd forgiven her, but because Tyler asked me to, and someone needed to monitor her care. Nicole had improved slightly. Her speech was clearer, though still impaired. She could use her right arm well, but her left side remained weak. She'd likely never walk independently again. During one visit, she looked at me and asked, "Why are you here?" "Tyler asked me to check on you." "You hate me." "I don't hate you, Nicole. I don't know what I feel about you. But you're still my sister, and despite everything, I don't want you to suffer. I'm sorry for what I did." It was the first time she'd ever apologized. I didn't know if she meant it or if the stroke had changed her somehow. "Do you understand why what you did was wrong?" She nodded slowly. "Took Mom's money. Shouldn't have." "Why did you do it?" "Scared. Needed money. Thought deserved it." "You hurt a lot of people, Nicole. Mom, me, Tyler, Brandon, Eric, everyone." Tears ran down her face. "Can't fix it." "No, you can't." We sat in silence. Then Nicole asked, "Will you ever forgive me?" I thought about it honestly. "I don't know. Maybe someday, but not yet." Fair. That was the most honest conversation we'd had in a decade. I continued visiting once a month, not often, but regularly. Tyler came weekly. Brandon never came at all. Nicole's life had been reduced to this: a small room in a state facility, minimal possessions, dependent on nurses for basic care, visited by a son and an estranged brother who both struggled to forgive her. She'd stolen $400,000, hoping to secure her future. Instead, she'd destroyed it. 9 years after Mom's death, Claire and I had our first child, a daughter we named Lily. When Tyler found out, he visited immediately and asked if Nicole knew. "I haven't told her," I admitted. "Are you going to?" "I don't know. What's the point? She's not going to be part of Lily's life." "She's still her aunt." "Biologically, yes, but functionally? Nicole's a woman I visit out of obligation once a month. She's not family in any real sense." Tyler looked sad. "That's really where we've ended up? Total estrangement?" "Tyler, your mom stole from our dying mother and never showed genuine remorse until after her stroke made her dependent on others. I'm civil to her now because she's helpless and it would be cruel to abandon her. But that doesn't mean I want her in my daughter's life." "Will you tell Lily about her someday? About what happened with Grandma Barbara?" "When she's old enough to understand, yes. I want her to know her grandmother existed, that she was a good person, and that family can betray you in ways you never expect. Those are all important lessons." A few months later, Tyler mentioned that he'd told Nicole about Lily. Nicole had cried, asked if she'd ever get to meet her granddaughter. "What did you tell her?" "I said it wasn't my decision, that you and Claire would decide if and when Nicole gets to meet Lily." "And what do you think I should do?" "Honestly, I don't know. Part of me thinks everyone deserves a chance at redemption, even if they don't deserve it. Part of me thinks you're right to keep Lily away from someone who showed such terrible judgment." Claire and I discussed it. She'd heard all the stories, knew everything Nicole had done. "It's your family, your decision. I'll support whatever you choose." "What would you choose?" "I'd probably let her meet Lily once, under supervision. Not because Nicole deserves it, but because complete estrangement seems sad, but I wouldn't make it a regular thing." We compromised. When Lily was 6 months old, we brought her to the nursing facility for one visit. Nicole held her granddaughter for 10 minutes, crying the entire time, telling Lily she was beautiful. It was awkward and sad and bittersweet. We didn't return. That one meeting was all we could offer. 10 years after Mom's death, Tyler got engaged. His fiancée, Melissa, was wonderful, kind, smart, understanding about the complicated family dynamics. Tyler agonized over whether to invite Nicole to the wedding. "She's my mom," he said, "but she's in a wheelchair, she has speech problems, and half the family still hates her. Brandon already said if she's there, he won't be." "What does Melissa think?" She says it's my choice, but she's worried about drama. There will be drama either way. Invite her, and some people will be angry. Don't invite her, and you'll feel guilty. What would you do? I thought about it. I'd invite her. Make it clear she's a guest, not part of the wedding party. Seat her somewhere she won't cause problems. Let her be there for your day, but don't let her dominate it. Tyler did invite Nicole. She attended, in her wheelchair, dressed nicely, crying through the whole ceremony. Brandon kept his distance, but didn't leave. I made polite small talk with her at the reception. It wasn't a reconciliation. It was just coexistence. The family had fractured and would never fully heal, but we learned how to exist in the same space without destroying each other. After the wedding, life went on. Lily grew, Tyler and Melissa bought a house, Brandon graduated college and moved to California for work, Eric remarried, I got promoted at work, and Nicole remained in her nursing facility, a cautionary tale about greed and consequences. Occasionally, people would ask me if I'd forgiven her. I never had a good answer. Forgiveness felt like letting her off the hook for something unforgivable, but holding on to anger felt like letting her continue to poison my life even now. Maybe forgiveness wasn't the right framework. Maybe it was just about accepting that bad things happened, bad people exist, and sometimes those bad people are your family. 11 years after Mom's death, I got a call from the nursing facility. Nicole had pneumonia. She was in the hospital again, and it wasn't looking good. I went to see her. Tyler was already there. She was on oxygen, barely conscious. The doctors say it could go either way. Her immune system is compromised from being in the facility so long. Has Brandon been told? Yeah, he's not coming. Nicole's eyes opened. She saw me and managed a weak smile. Ryan. Hey, Nicole. If I don't make it, tell Tyler I'm sorry for everything. Tell him yourself. You're going to be fine. But we both knew she might not be. And you. I'm sorry. I hurt you. Hurt Mom. Hurt everyone. I know. Do you forgive me? I looked at this woman, my sister, my mother's daughter, someone who'd once been my family before she destroyed it all. I'm working on it, I said honestly. She nodded and closed her eyes. Nicole survived the pneumonia. She returned to the nursing facility, weaker but alive. And life continued, complicated, messy, scarred by the past, but still moving forward. 12 years after Mom's death, I found myself in therapy again. Not because of any crisis, but because Claire suggested we go together before having our second child. During one session, our therapist asked me about my family of origin. I told her the whole story. Mom's cancer, Nicole's theft, the legal battle, the aftermath. And where are you with all of this now? She asked. I don't know. Nicole's still alive, still in the nursing facility. I still visit occasionally, but I don't feel anything when I'm there. No anger, no love, just obligation. Do you think you'll ever fully process what happened? Maybe. Or maybe some things you just learn to carry. Claire squeezed my hand. You've done more than most people would. You protected your mother's estate. You maintained a relationship with your nephews. You even show up for Nicole when most people would have walked away completely. It doesn't feel like enough. Because there is no enough in situations like this, the therapist said. Your sister committed elder abuse. Your mother died. Your family fractured. No amount of processing will make those facts less painful. You just learn to build a life alongside the pain. That resonated with me. Building a life alongside the pain. That's what I'd been doing for 12 years. That Christmas, Tyler and Melissa hosted dinner. Brandon flew in from California, a rare appearance. I brought Claire and Lily. Eric came with his new wife. Nicole wasn't there. She couldn't manage the trip from the facility, and truthfully, no one had pushed hard to arrange it. At one point, Brandon pulled me aside. Uncle Ryan, I want to thank you for being there for Tyler all these years, for helping with Mom even though she didn't deserve it, for being the actual adult in this situation. I just did what I thought was right. Yeah, but that's more than most people do. Dad checked out, Mom destroyed everything. You stayed. You stayed too. You're here now. I'm here for Tyler and for you, but I'm done with Mom. I know Tyler still visits her, and that's his choice, but I can't. I can't look at her without remembering what she did to Grandma. I understand. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd never seen that real estate listing? If you'd never found out about the theft? All the time. Maybe Mom would have died peacefully. Maybe Nicole would have gotten away with it completely. Maybe our family wouldn't have imploded. But Nicole would have stolen everything. Yes, so I guess I'm glad I found out, even though the cost was high. Brandon nodded. Me too. At least we know the truth. The truth. That's what it all came down to. I'd blown up my family by insisting on truth over comfortable lies. Most days I thought I'd made the right choice. Some days I wasn't so sure. 13 years after Mom's death, Tyler and Melissa had their first child, a son they named Andrew. The christening was a small affair. Nicole was invited but couldn't attend due to health issues. I held my nephew and thought about legacy. Andrew would grow up knowing his grandmother Nicole, but he'd also eventually learn what she'd done. Tyler had already told me he planned to be honest about family history. I don't want Andrew making the same mistakes, thinking family means blind loyalty. Sometimes family means holding people accountable. That's a hard lesson for a kid. It's a necessary one. Watching Tyler hold his son, I realized something. Nicole's theft had stolen more than money. It had stolen innocence. Tyler and Brandon had to learn far too young that parents can be fallible, selfish, even criminal. They'd lost the luxury of blind trust. But maybe they'd gained something too. Discernment, strength, the ability to set boundaries. 14 years after Mom's death, I got the call I'd been half expecting for years. Nicole had died. Another stroke, massive this time. She was 56 years old. Tyler called me sobbing. Despite everything, she was still his mother. Brandon didn't cry. He simply said, "I guess that's that." The funeral was small. Tyler and Melissa. Brandon flew in. Eric and his wife came out of respect. Claire and I attended. A handful of people from the nursing facility. That was it. No aunts or uncles who had once supported Nicole. No cousins, no friends. She died as she lived the last decade, isolated, the consequence of burning every bridge. I stood at the service looking at Nicole's casket, trying to feel something, but all I felt was tired. Tyler gave the eulogy. He was honest in a way that surprised me. My mother was a complicated person. She was capable of great love. I felt that as a child. She was also capable of great selfishness. I saw that as an adult. She made choices that hurt people, including her own mother. And she paid for those choices, with her career, her relationships, and ultimately her health and happiness. He paused, composing himself. I don't stand here to absolve her of what she did, but I don't stand here to condemn her either. She was human, flawed, broken, and human, and she was my mother. I loved her despite everything, and I'll miss her despite everything. It was the most grace anyone had shown Nicole in 14 years. After the service, Brandon and I stood by the gravesite as workers began to fill it in. "Do you think she really understood what she did?" Brandon asked. "After the stroke, maybe. Before that, I think she convinced herself she was justified. And now? Now she's gone, and we're left dealing with the aftermath. Do you regret it, fighting her? If you could go back, would you just let her have the money?" I thought about it honestly. No, what she did was wrong. Someone had to stop her. I'm just sorry it had to be me. Me too, Uncle Ryan, me too. We buried Nicole in a plot 20 feet from Mom's grave, close enough to be family, but not side by side. It felt appropriate. On Mom's headstone, I'd written, "Beloved Mother." On Nicole's, Tyler had simply written, "Nicole Matthews, 1968 to 2024, at peace now." Whether Nicole had found peace, I didn't know, but at least the war was over. That night, Claire asked me how I felt. "Relieved," I admitted. "Is that terrible?" "No, it's honest. I spent 14 years dealing with the fallout of what Nicole did. Now it's finally over. She can't hurt anyone else. She can't steal anything else. She's just done. Do you forgive her?" I don't know. Maybe forgiveness isn't a binary thing. Maybe it's a spectrum, and I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't hate her anymore. I don't wish she suffered more. But I don't forgive her either. I just accept that she existed, did terrible things, faced some consequences, and now she's gone. That's probably the healthiest place you could be. Is it healthy to feel relief that your sister is dead? Given what your sister did, yes. 15 years after Mom's death, I took Lily, now 6 years old, to visit both graves. She was old enough to start understanding family history. "That's your Grandma Barbara," I said, pointing to Mom's headstone. "She died before you were born. She was a good person who worked hard and loved her family. Why did she die?" "She got very sick. Cancer." "That's sad." "It is sad, but she lived a good life." Lily looked at the grave next to it. "Who's that?" "That's your Aunt Nicole. She was my sister." "Is she dead too?" "Yes, she died when you were 3. "Were you sad?" "It's complicated, sweetheart. Aunt Nicole did some bad things that hurt our family, but she was still my sister, so yes, I was sad. People can be both bad and sad to lose at the same time. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't, does it? But that's how family works sometimes. We left flowers on both graves, roses for Mom, daisies for Nicole, equal in death, even if they hadn't been in life. As we walked back to the car, Lily asked, "Daddy, what bad things did Aunt Nicole do?" "I'll tell you when you're older. It's an important story about trust and family and doing the right thing even when it's hard." "Will you tell me about Grandma Barbara, too?" "Every story I can remember, because that was the real legacy. Not the money Nicole stole or the family she destroyed, but the lessons we carried forward, about integrity, about standing up for what's right, about the complexity of loving flawed people. Mom would never know her granddaughter. Nicole would never meet Tyler's son. The family would never heal. But we'd survived. Tyler, Brandon, and I had built something from the ruins. Not perfect, but honest. Not whole, but real. And maybe that was enough. That night, I added a final entry to the journal I'd been keeping since Mom's diagnosis. 15 years later, I've learned that justice isn't always satisfying. Nicole stole, faced some consequences, but ultimately died having kept a significant portion of what she took. She destroyed our family and never fully paid for it. But I've also learned that living well, honestly, ethically, with integrity, is its own revenge. Nicole took the money, I got the lesson, and in the end, I think I got the better deal. I closed the journal and put it away. The story was over. The chapter was closed. Tomorrow, I'd wake up and continue building the life I'd chosen. One based on truth, not lies. One based on integrity, not convenience. And that was enough.
Looking back, people always ask if I'd do anything differently. The honest answer? I don't know. Fighting Nicole destroyed what was left of my family. It cost me relationships, sleep, peace of mind. But it also meant Mom's estate was protected. Truth was told, and justice, imperfect as it was served. Nicole paid some price for what she did, but not enough. She kept over $100,000 of the money she stole. She avoided prison. She lived her final years in a state facility, but that was consequence, not punishment. But I've made peace with imperfect justice, because the alternative, letting her get away with it completely, would have been worse. At least this way, the truth is known. Her sons know what she did, history will remember her accurately, and I can live with myself knowing I stood up for what was right, even when it tore everything apart. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to Reddit Family Fallout. We share real stories about family betrayal, legal battles, and the complicated reality of holding family members accountable for their actions. Drop a comment below. Would you have fought your sibling legally, or would you have let it go to preserve family peace? What would you have done in my position? Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes protecting a vulnerable family member means going to war with another family member. It's never easy, but it's sometimes necessary. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.